this tragic story of flood and devastation and death, has it ever happened before? Yes. In 1938, this was the Naugatuck and the Lehigh and the Quinebaug and the Connecticut. Man's memory is so short. Loss and devastation and death. This was Hartford, Connecticut in 1938. This was the Connecticut River in Hartford. This too was Hartford in 1938. And this was the 1938 fashion in Hartford. Look closely at Hartford's streets in 1938. Compare them to Hartford streets in 1955. Yes, 1955, when Diane had come and gone, leaving Hartford dry, serene, undamaged. What magic brought this about? No magic at all. Just plain common sense, flood control construction. Since 1938, Congress has authorized a $300 million flood control program for New England. This flood wall, built by the Corps of Engineers at a cost of $11 million, was a part of that program. In 1955, it saved Hartford twice its cost in property damage. Under the same authorization, this flood control dam was built on the Westfield River, a tributary of the Connecticut. During Diane, it largely controlled the Westfield and diminished flood stages along the entire Connecticut. As part of the same program, this dam was constructed above Willimantic. In the Great Diane storm, it reduced flood stages there and downstream on the Chautauqua and Thames rivers. These dams stand dry until a record downpour threatens. Then, the control gates are closed and the reservoirs fill with billions of gallons, which otherwise would pour into the swollen streams and build them to raging floods. With the emergency passed, the gates are opened and the impounded waters drain away. But man's memory is short, and 5/6 of the authorized $300 million program has not taken form in flood control works. The unbuilt dams, levees, and flood walls would have reduced the damage, might have saved lives, even in such a flood as Diane. The plans for watershed development to contain flood waters and protect the cities and peoples from destruction and death remain largely uncompleted. And the flood control plans in many other areas of our nation are also largely uncompleted. The nation's rivers can be controlled. Remember the 1927 flood on the Mississippi? Remember the 37 flood on the Ohio? Remember the 51 and 52 floods on the Missouri? In the wake of the rampages of these wild rivers, the engineers' great earth dams on the Missouri, like Fort Peck and Garrison and Fort Randall, rise to harness the Big Muddy and tame its periodic overflows. The levee system on the Mississippi and the dams on its tributaries have contained the Father of Waters. These engineering works are man's answer to nature's wrath. And our Army's engineers are a part of the great team dedicated to the unending fight for flood control and the development of our river basins for America's security and prosperity. But without this constructive work, we must continue to face tragedy, destruction, and heartbreak. Yet with the passage of time, the memory of raging waters fades and is forgotten. Must man's memory continue to be so short?
So, as you have seen, the Army Corps of Engineers have done much for our country, and will do so much more if given the go-ahead signal. It does seem strange that we Americans, who enjoy so many blessings, could enjoy so many more if only we took thought of past disasters and planned ahead to control them in the future. Truly, our memory need not be so short. This is Sergeant Stuart Queen, inviting you to be with us again next week for another look at the big picture.
The Big Picture is a weekly television report to the nation on the activities of the Army at home and overseas. Produced by the Signal Corps Pictorial Center. Presented by the United States Army in cooperation with this station. You too can be an important part of the big picture. You can proudly serve with the best equipped, the best trained, the best fighting team in the world today, the United States Army.